true love, and it's touched a lot of people's hearts, and it's just about simplicity of life, and it goes like this. Take life as it comes, friends. Leave well enough alone. Keep a smile in your heart. You could turn any house into a home. The bad times will surely come. That's up to you when they go. And the good times will flourish as long as true love flows. So just let true love flow, friends. See the world with a positive view. Surround yourself with good friends, and the world will change around you. Make a habit of giving. Help where you can. Give food to the hungry, but give your heart to a friend. Now, true love, it's not that easy to find. It only comes when you can say it's ours instead of mine. For sharing your blessings with the people you love will light up your life like the moonlight from above. Now, forgiveness is the key to love, this I know. And a heart full of vanity has no way to grow. So wrap your arms around those loved ones around, for that's the place that true love is found. And I think that's what every human being is looking for, is true love in their life somewhere.
We one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Lot of that shit. Fuck that. Let me start off a little bit different. I was finna say a lot of shit that happened in the NFL today, but what's good with it? Had some mucus in the throat right there. Had to clear the throat up a little bit. What's good with it? How fucking dope was the day? Yo, we're gonna talk a little bit more about Carson Wentz today. Carson Wentz to the Commanders. I be having to actually, when I talk about Washington, I have to actually remember that their name is the Commanders. Excuse me. Their name is the Commanders. I have to actually remember that, like forcibly remember that, because I'd be ready to just say Washington football team. I think both names are stupid, but yeah. But we're gonna talk about a couple things today, man. What the fuck is up, man? What's good with it? I just watched. Well, I didn't just watch. I watched it a couple like hours ago at this point. The Nets and Philly. Interesting game. Very hard for me to sit through a game where you got Joel Embiid taking that many fucking free throws. Dude had 21 points, 15 points came from the free throw line. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, I just don't care to see a game get slowed down like that. And then you got Harden, who for some reason, like Charles Barkley said, these big games, he just loved disappearing in these big games. I'm telling you, it's pretty wild to me, man. Like, I do hear people criticize Harden, but I feel like that criticism is here today, gone tomorrow. Like, the criticism of Harden is it just come and go. Like, it's not a staying thing. It has no staying power. Because as soon as this motherfucker do something stupid again, it feel like it's a whole. I don't even want to say as soon as he do something stupid. As soon as he do something that's counter to what, because it feel like people don't really talk about it, but I feel like Harden get praised a lot. Like, I hear people compare this motherfucker to Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. People talk about how he better than them motherfuckers. I hear people constantly talking about how he better than Steph Curry and how he would be more if Steph Curry didn't have this and that. If he had, like, I hear people make excuses for Harden all the time, and I hear people like up the great that Harden do. But when Harden do not playing at his best, or when Harden I don't really want to say when he do bad shit. When he don't play up to his performance. When he don't perform up to the standards you would have of a James Harden in big games, I feel like people talk about it for a day or so and then it go away. Like, I feel like James Harden done got away with, just not being that dude in big games. And I feel like that's why he is ringless at this moment, bro. I just don't feel like he come through in big games. He fade down the stretch in big games. He miss a lot of shots in big games. He don't make the big play in big games. Because I done seen players in big games miss shots, but still make the big shot or the big play. James Harden don't do none of that. Like, it's just really frustrating when I watch James Harden in some of these big games. And it's a laundry list of big moments that he folded in. And tonight, now I'm hearing people say like this felt, and I do agree some games feel like a playoff atmosphere. This definitely did feel like it felt like a big game, regardless. And Harden just wasn't up for it. I'm like, man, it's pretty wild, to be completely honest with you, how bad he performed in some of these big games. Like, and I done seen, his performances in big games. It's just wild to me. So that was very interesting. Like, KD didn't even go nuclear tonight. Like, it was a team effort. And I'm watching the game thinking to myself, like, obviously Philly won't be this bad on a normal basis, but the Nets can be better. And they still don't have Ben Simmons. Like, the Nets won this game by about 20-something points. They could have won it by 40 if Kyrie and KD went for 40 or 30 apiece. So, interesting game plan tonight, or game tonight by those two teams. And then I'm watching the fucking Warriors struggle in Denver. I don't know if the Warriors is just struggling like this because it's the second half of the season and they know they're in the playoffs. They're just trying to get to the playoffs. Or if they really just, becoming what they are currently performing like. Because I'm telling you, man. Like, I'm seeing people on Twitter today go at Melo. And I really didn't like that comment Jalen Green made. Like, oh, we just went at Melo. Whoever was on Melo, we tried to ISO Melo out. Like, bro. I understand the honesty and whatnot, bro, but it's better ways you could have worded that, because that shit sound hella disrespectful to Melo, bro. But either way, I'm hearing Laker fans and shit talking about some, oh, Melo toast, bro, legit the worst defender in the league and blah, blah. Bro, I feel the same way about that when I felt people talking about Steph Curry's defense. If the Lakers and Laker fans was relying heavily on Carmelo Anthony, 37-year-old Carmelo Anthony's defense, then Carmelo is not the problem. Y'all expectations were the problem. And y'all reality of basketball or basketball knowledge was the problem. Because forget the fact that Melo ain't never been a defender. If you're relying on a 37-year-old to be a lockdown defender, or anything more than just a system defender, then you really have a problem. Like, bro, when you get Steph Curry, if you talking about, well, Steph Curry don't really help the defense, then he was traded to the wrong team. Because you don't trade for Steph Curry expecting him to come in and be a lockdown defender. You trade for Steph Curry hoping that he bring you points, three-pointers, buckets off the bench. Like, but some people say stupid shit to me, bro. Like, if you want to get on Melo about anything, it need to be if he was struggling to score points, if he couldn't hit shots and shit. It should not be because no fucking defense. Like, that's on the Lakers. That's on Frank Vogel. That's on the coaching staff. That's on everybody around him who's supposed to be. Like, nah, y'all not finna go hard on Melo. That's what I'm saying, man. And then I saw a tweet today where it was like prime Russell Westbrook. Like, people defending Russell Westbrook. Because I saw Steph Curry defend Russell Westbrook, which was wild to me. Because every time I've ever really heard Russell Westbrook speak on Steph, it feel like it's always sounded like disrespectful or hating. But then I see how cool he is with him in some of the All-Star games. So, I don't know, man. I don't think too much into it. But Steph Curry stepped up for Westbrook and defended him. Like, basically, they build you up to tear you down, and that's a fact. That is a fact. Typical wrestling fans. Really, that's fans all around. When you a bad player or something like that with no expectations, bro, they root for you and shit. As soon as you become the man, that's when they naturally start hating you. And then the fall from grace is always tragic because you got these unloyal fans, bro. They don't stick with you at your worst. They still trash you. And that's not every fan. It's some fans that'll ride with you to the end. But I'm also talking about just not fans who ride for you. Logical, understand. Because being a real fan, in my opinion, don't mean just riding for the dudes on your team. How you going to feel about that motherfucker when he leave your team? How you feel about other motherfuckers around the league? You can't tell me you looking at your players and you talk about how you respect their work ethic and all this bullshit. but then you turn around and say, oh, you don't respect none of that for the other team, or you feel like they less than on the other teams. Like, that makes no sense to me. You should show all these dudes the same level of respect. I'm not saying you go in and cheer these dudes when you playing against them and shit like that. Now, if they're going off and shit like that, I get that. Just becoming immersed in the experience. But I am saying we can show all these athletes a certain level of respect, no matter what. Like, when they say it's a game, the context they use it in be goofy sometimes. When I say it's a game, what I want people to remember is this is a game at the end of the day. Y'all be hating on these dudes about a game. This shit don't mean nothing in, I don't want to say real life because it is real life, but at the end of the day, this shit should mean nothing more than just massive enjoyment for your entertainment. The only reason some of y'all motherfuckers act the way y'all act is because you bet on games, you got the fantasy leagues and all this type of shit, where they basically turn these dudes into pawns for your entertainment, so you look at them as nothing more than something that won you money or lost you money. And that's sad to me, but hey, it is what it is. And that's sad too, to be honest with you, that's how you gotta dumb it down. But again, it is what it is. I said it in a more depressed way so you could get it, you dig? But hey, that's where we're at. But the Lakers, when I was talking about speaking of actually Westbrook being defended by Curry, why has LeBron not come out and spoken on Westbrook and all this hate that he get? Like, I understand not speaking on the part of, calling him Westbrook, because LeBron get far more hate over the years than Westbrook, trust me. When you as big a star as a LeBron James, a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Giannis, when you done accomplish what those type players done accomplished, Kobe, Jordan, Bird, Magic, I'm pretty sure they get trolled just as hard as they get praised. That just come with the territory. LeBron get called LeBum, LeMickey. Like, they got so many, LeBrick. Like, so many people have just these disrespectful ass nicknames that they use in the context. Now, that's when I get irritated, when people not even using it in the context. Somebody talking and they're just going. It really irritate me when an athlete tweets something and somebody tweet under the shit. Like, if an athlete just tweet like, oh, I'm having a good day or something like that, and then somebody go on to tweet, yeah, whatever, and like trash them about they on the court things and shit like that. And I'm like, damn, bro, this dude can't chill and have a great day. She can't have a great day without y'all coming under her comments, or he coming, or y'all going under his comments or his post and going nuts about a game. That's what I mean when I say it's a game. Like, bro, if they not playing, bro, let them live, man. Y'all should not be in these motherfuckers' feeds all day and long. Like, it's dudes getting hurt and you got motherfuckers tweeting them like, man, you cost me my league. Like, bro, you think he give a fuck about your league, or she give a fuck about your league when they hurt? I just think this gambling, this betting on games and shit done turned some of y'all motherfuckers into animals. Dead ass. I think it's a problem, honestly, too, but nobody gonna speak on it because the world makes so much money off of it. Like, and that's really what's sad, because it really is a problem. The way athletes are treated and the way people view athletes as just nothing more than like pawns or robots for entertainment and shit like that, how they are dehumanized, to me, it's just crazy. I mean, some of these motherfuckers become more human to y'all after they retire, and all they doing is talking about the game and shit, and talking about the shit that happened. Like, that's weird to me. Y'all appreciate them after they get done playing, but while they playing, you don't. It's fucking weird, man. It's fucking weird. It's just fucking weird to me. But either way, I think it's weird that LeBron haven't defended Westbrook. Not necessarily, like I said, not on that thing about the kids and his last name and shit, because I understand LeBron not being able to defend that, because like, he probably sitting back like, bro, I done got called every name in the book. That's just something, I got kids who, a lot of, like 2 of my sons old enough to definitely understand this shit. Like, bro, people trashing us about Space Jam and shit. Like, I get that, him not being able to, but this other shit, how reporters going at him for missing shots and all this other shit, LeBron should have came out. Even if you don't feel like you have to defend him, or even if you don't want to, as the leader. That's what I was speaking on about LeBron a couple videos ago, a couple shows ago. Like, yo, LeBron's leadership to me is just not the greatest leadership I've ever seen of a player of LeBron's caliber. Like, it's very few players of LeBron's caliber who got this poor of leadership at times, in my opinion. Like, I'm trying to think of some other like legitimate players who was great and leaders. And I know every leader can't be like Steph Curry. I'm not saying that every leader got to be like Steph Curry. But LeBron James, to me, just got some of the worst leadership moments I done seen in sports. Like, some of the worst leadership I done seen in sports, bro. So, you know. Like, I really do have a problem with that shit he did to J.R. Smith, bro. Because that shit, to me, just borderline disrespectful. Like, bro, are you dead ass serious that you doing this right now, bro? Like, if you really immersed in this game, bro, you should. It's no way that you should be, like, doing that, making me look like a fucking idiot in front of all these people and shit like that. And I know some people are like, man, you shouldn't be thinking about that. He shouldn't think. Bruh, LeBron is the leader. The fact that that was the first reaction that he went to. And some people keep saying, bruh, you know how hard that game was? But, bruh, every fucking game is hard. It's the finals. What are you talking about? Plays don't go wrong for a lot of different teams. That is not how you respond. How he was so dejected on the bench in the overtime and shit, basically accepting defeat when it's still time on the clock. The battle ain't over. Why is you acting like this? Like, to me, LeBron just got some of the absolute, and that's no disrespect to LeBron. I love LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time. But some of the worst leadership tactics and leadership examples of leadership and displays of leadership I have ever seen. Like, just absolute. Like, because I'm thinking to myself, if I'm in some of these situations, like if I'm J.R. Smith and I go back to after LeBron do that shit, I go back to the bench and I'm like, yo, you did not have to fucking do what you just did, bro. Like, it was a way we could have handled that shit. Like, it ain't no fucking way you just did what you just did, tried to make me look embarrassed like that. Like, it's no fucking way. No fucking way that's what you just pulled. But I'm probably doing that in the locker room because I'm probably looking at how he's stewing on the bench the way he is, and I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, this dude really acting like a real bitch right now. Like, this dude really acting like a fucking toddler. Like, we got a whole fucking overtime right now, and this dude over here pouting on the fucking bench. This dude supposed to be the leader, and this motherfucker the one is pouting. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, bruh, two average players supposed to be on the bench arguing over a play like that, not the fucking leader. So that's just my problem with LeBron and the leadership things, man. I just don't think he done came out and defended Russ enough. And listen, if you feel like that's not something he should have done or something that he is responsible of doing, I disagree, because I think when you're the leader of a team, that is something that you should do. But I'm not going to argue with you on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to debate you on it. You know, that's a you feel how you feel type of situation. I just think he could be a better leader in these situations, and you shouldn't have Steph Curry. Or you shouldn't have to have Steph Curry coming out trying to defend, you know, Russell Westbrook. I saw a comment under one of the tweets on Twitter where Curry was defending Westbrook, and who was it? It was a LeBron fan. I think he had LeBron in his caption, in his Twitter picture. He tweeted, "Now all the Curry sexuals can can stop hating on Westbrook." And when I read that comment, I was like, what the fuck? Like, Curry fans legitimately, like, we do not fucking, and I consider myself a massive Curry fan. Bro, we do not fucking sit here talking about Westbrook. Shit, I literally get on here and defend the motherfucker. Like, what are you talking about, us Curry sexuals get on here, can stop hating on Westbrook? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you go right under the comment, and the next comment was a dude who was like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Laker fans the one that's hating on Westbrook. Curry fans ain't said shit about Westbrook. Yeah, that is a fact. We did not consider, we don't worry about, the only reason I talk about him is because I'm a Laker fan. Born and raised a Laker fan. I wouldn't even say born raised, because nobody raised me to be a Laker fan. I just been a Laker fan my whole life. But I just said I'm turning in my Laker card this year and officially committing myself fully to Golden State, because Curry been my favorite player in the league since Kobe retired. So I just can. Only reason I stayed with the Lakers is because I'm a true fan. I'm not gonna never leave my squad, and I'm still a Laker fan, but I just need them to get AD and Russ off the team. And me saying Russ off the team ain't because I don't like Russ or nothing. It ain't nothing personal. I just know you can't win with Russell Westbrook on your team. I knew that years ago when Russ was in his prime. When Russ was dropping triple doubles. Before that, I knew you couldn't win with him on your team. My problem, that's like kind of personal, it feel like at times, is that motherfucker AD. I do not want Anthony Davis on the fucking Lakers. I never did. And to be completely honest with you, and it is a fact that they traded him for two dudes who I absolutely loved, I was going to say Lamar Jackson, and Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, and that's not going to make sense to a lot of people, and I don't give a fuck. It's going to make sense to legit Laker fans who are legitimate to the core Laker fans. Laker fans know how we feel about dudes who we draft or who we get at a young age and try to mature and grow. And we watch them grow and stumble. The outside world was mad at how the Lakers sucked. And we was mad about how we sucked when we had those raggedy ass teams with like Sacre and all those other random parts and misfit pieces and shit. But when we was actually building around Lonzo and Lonzo and fucking Ingram and Julius and bruh, Laker fans will tell you off rip. Like, the legit Laker fans will tell you we love those dudes. Like, we was with the growing struggles. We was with it 1,000%. Because we knew that when they became legit, we could say, bruh, we got homegrown superstars. So we already had seen some of the ugliest years. We was cool with developing and seeing them boys grow and shit. I preferred it. And then when we got LeBron, and this is why I never wanted LeBron to come. Now, I knew eventually he was coming, just based off of all the reports and shit. Plus, just think to yourself. For one, he wasn't retiring in Cleveland. That was never happening. I knew he wasn't going back to Miami. I just didn't see Miami as a team. Because of the Lakers' young studs and like their young up-and-coming talent, and just because I felt like, yeah, this is LeBron got LA written all over him, I was like, yeah, he's going, and he wasn't going to the Clippers. When you know how LeBron is all about his brand, he was never putting the Clippers on his brand. That was just never going to happen. Clippers on his brand, Los Angeles Lakers on his brand. Come on now. He was never becoming a Clipper. So when he came, I had just accepted the fact eventually that he was coming. But I had hoped that he was going to be a massive part of the growth of Brandon Ingram, Lonzo. Well, he came. It seemed as though he was going to teach Kuzma, Josh Hart. It felt like he was going to teach these dudes how to be winners and, up their game and whatnot. But no, he was using them as a means to an end. He got hurt, and it was over from there. This was a great team before he got hurt. That's why I don't understand why he was so quick to trade them for AD, a dude who was injury prone all the time, who to me is overrated because nobody take into account how often he fucking hurt. And another thing that really irritated me, and I understand AD is a two-way player. He can play defense. But you don't care about his defense. They care about how great he scored points. To me, it is matter of fact, let me put it like this. I don't mind when a player is as good as AD individually. When AD is individually great, giving him his awards and accolades like all-pro teams and all-star games and shit like that, cool. Even though I kind of do have a problem with certain players making all-pros when they only great and they don't make nobody else better. Like they on a bad team, everybody around them trash, nobody around them can even get better because the one dude on the team that's so great is individually great to the max. Like, to an extent, I do have trouble putting that type of player on an all-pro team, not an all-star game. To me, that all-star game is for dudes who've been individually great. But to me, the all-pro selection shouldn't just be because of your individual greatness. That should take into account how you make other people around you better and shit like that. Like, that should have more to do with just being. And I'm not saying AD don't deserve some of his all-pro nods. That's not what I'm saying. Those years that he got them to the playoffs, that's an all-pro power forward. But some of these years where AD putting up all these amazing or big numbers, and you got other dudes who he might have beat out for all pros who put up great numbers and was winning, I got a little bit of a problem with that. And I understand people like, well, was he better than him? Motherfucker, when you make the Hall of Fame, people bring up the team awards and shit. And I understand they bring up individual awards, but how can you have no individual awards if you are a big part of why your team is great? I don't understand that. People hate on Draymond. Draymond is a huge reason as to why the Warriors have been what they have been through those great years. But for some reason, people want to dumb his accomplishments down. And I don't understand that. But then you got players who don't contribute to winning, who don't contribute to people getting better, who don't contribute to nothing but their own stats. And people go to war for him and shit like that. Like, I mean, it just don't make no sense to me. Because you look at AD, you look at Draymond, right? To me, Draymond, and I can't remember if Draymond made the 75th anniversary team or not. I think he did, but I cannot remember off rip if he did or didn't. But he should have made it over Anthony Davis. If he didn't make it, he should have made it over AD, because I think Draymond Green is a better player than Anthony Davis. Because I'm not just taking into consideration the points that AD scored. Because you don't want to bring up defense, because Draymond can guard 1 through 5. And people keep telling me AD can guard 1 through 5, but I'm looking at guards cook him on a regular basis on the perimeter. AD cannot guard 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5 when all of them is coming in the paint. And yeah, he can guard possibly 2 to 3 through 5. And even then, it's hard to say that because AD can't guard Kevin Durant. AD can't guard Paul George. AD can't guard Kawhi Leonard. AD wouldn't be able to guard a LeBron James. So that's just weird that, people say AD can guard 1 through 5. Because I see point guards and guards who can dribble cook him when he on the perimeter. And yeah, he is long. But for some reason, AD putting a hand in some of these guards' face don't matter sometimes. Because they already done got the shot that they wanted or the look that they want. So by the time they get it off, they done already got him stepping back and dancing. By the time he can get his hand up, they already done got the look that they needed and got the shot up. So, and to me, when I'm looking at him defend on the perimeter, and I'm not saying he atrocious on the defender. For a big man his size, he a good perimeter defender. But go look at highlights of Draymond Green defending on the perimeter. Draymond Green is a far better perimeter defender than AD. Now, maybe that got something to do with his size, that he ain't as big as Draymond. Okay, cool. Well, Draymond Green can defend in the paint too. So, plus, this is one thing people don't talk about enough. Draymond Green is also not just a great defender. He's a mobile defender. Rudy Gobert is not a mobile defender. If anything, Rudy Gobert's greatest strength is that he is a weak side defender. If somebody going up for a shot, he'll come off the weak side or the blind side and get the block or something like that. Draymond Green ain't afraid to get yammed on because Draymond Green is a mobile defender. He ain't just sitting in the paint waiting for you to come in to block your shot. He actually is defending you while you dribbling and shit like that. Like, he moving around, running around screens and shit. So, it's like when Paul George is a great defender. Like, to me, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, those are phenomenal defenders. Those are the 3 dudes who should have been winning Defensive Player of the Year the last couple years. Not Rudy Gobert continuously stealing that fucking award. Like, to me, the fact that they consider Rudy Gobert to be Defensive Player of the Year over those 3 dudes who are mobile, elite mobile defenders. Rudy Gobert or Gobert is an elite standstill. Is an elite stationary weak side defender. Even though I done seen big man cook his ass in the post. And he get cooked on the perimeter every time he go out there. I don't even know why they still be having his ass go out to the perimeter. So it's just baffling to me. You know what I'm saying? That Rudy Gobert done won that award over those three. Like, go look at highlights of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Draymond Green defending. It's ridiculous how great of defenders those three are. I really don't understand how great a defender. Like, with Kawhi, he looks strong as shit, right? He got the long hands, got great coordination when he moving around and shit. He sit down in his defensive position a lot. That's why I really like watching Kawhi play defense. Because Kawhi will sit down in his defensive stance and put those two long-ass arms out. And it just feel like your ass is locked up on Alcatraz when he do that shit. He can move side to side. That's what make him such a great defender, too. Because he can move side to side. He can flip his hips when you try to get past him. Like Kawhi Leonard, and he got that strength to where he don't have to, put the strength on him. You can bump into him and feel his strength. That's why I think, and he got great anticipation and shit. Like, Kawhi don't jump too much. He even do this thing sometimes where he just, he'll get up off he don't leave the ground, but he'll get on his tippy toes, basically, to try to act like he finna jump on. Kawhi is a very intelligent defender who is very technically sound. And then you look at Paul George, who is more of a lanky, like, he's strong, but he not as built as strong as Kawhi. Probably not as strong as Kawhi. But he's so smart, fast, and athletic and physical. That's why I like watching Paul George play. Now, he's not as physical on defense as the other two, but he can be. And he is long. That's what helped PG out. Very long, very tenacious. That's why I like PG also. Kawhi is a great defender. Like, I think Kawhi might be, I don't think he's the best. I think Draymond is the best out of all three in a vacuum, because Draymond can guard the five. PG and Kawhi not usually going to be guarding the five. But the reason I think PG would make him such a elite defender is, like, and all three of these dudes, like I done said, they are mobile defenders. Meaning they not just stationary defenders or defenders who you got to catch on the weak side or something like that. No. They can D you up straight up. So what make Paul George elite? Like I said, he got the length. He lanky. He got strength now. He's strong. But to me, he's so intelligent. He's so tenacious, and it's just something about his footwork on defense. Like, he don't really get tangled up on defense and shit. Like, that one season where people was in his head from the pandemic and shit, that's probably the worst I had seen Paul George on defense early in the season. And even then, he cleaned that shit up. Like, Paul George is incapable of being a bad defender throughout the majority of his career. Like, Paul George had a year where he should have won Defensive Player of the Year, possibly. Like, Paul George, one of my favorite players. It was a stretch where I did not like him for a little stretch. I was in my feelings just because he kept turning down the Lakers, because I really wanted him to go to the Lakers, but then I got over it because I realized I didn't want LeBron to go there, and when LeBron got here, I knew that probably was going to kill the Paul George shot, but I kept holding out hope, and then it didn't happen, and I was kind of pissed off that he picked Russell Westbrook over fucking LeBron James. That really irritated me. It still do irritate me. But I love Paul George. I can't hate him, because Paul George legitimately is one of my favorite players in the NBA. Like, I've been a Paul George fan for a long time. Like, if I had to name my three favorite players in the NBA right now, Paul is number 3. Like, dead ass. Paul George number 3. It's just hard to say that because the motherfucker played for the Clippers. Like, that's really why I cannot go around saying Paul George is one of my favorite players, because the motherfucker played for the Clippers and I'm a Laker fan. But the motherfucker is just so good, bro. So good. I think playing with Russell Westbrook kind of got him undisciplined a little bit. But I'm so happy that Tyronn Lue, underrated coach. Boy, everybody who said it was just LeBron, motherfucker has been phenomenal with the Clippers. But Paul George playing in some structure, oh my God. Now that he back in a structured offense, oh my goodness. Thank God. Thank God. And now I'm starting to agree with Paul George when he said Doc didn't use him right. Because Paul at the beginning of the year was going in fuego. Plus Paul George in the system over there in the Pacers. Beautiful. Beautiful. Paul George is a Hall of Famer. He heavily underrated. I hope he end up coming back healthy and whatnot. I really wish Paul George would become a Laker, man. But I know he never leaving the Clippers. He probably retiring the Clipper. And that hurts me. He and Kawhi gonna retire Clippers. Because I just don't think they want to ever leave LA again. Like, they LA dudes, so it is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about the Chargers. They made a trade today for elite pass rusher, Khalil Mack. Is it Khalil or Khalil? Khalil Mack. Leaving Chicago. And I knew they was going to trade him. I thought they was going to either trade or release him. That's just what I was feeling. Because it didn't feel like, they was that. It just didn't feel like it felt like his time was up. Let me put it like that. Was injured a little bit last year. It just felt like they had came to the end. They had gotten the most out of Khalil Mack. That, you know what I'm saying? He came. He did a great job his first couple years there. Now it's time to move on. And I felt that. I kind of felt like that was the direction they was going to go in. Great for Khalil Mack, though, landing with the Chargers. Like, hey, if they're not going to release you to let you go pick your team, thank goodness they trade you to a good team or a promising young team. Well, I mean, a promising team with a good young quarterback. Now, this division, boy, you get Russell Wilson one day and the next day you get Khalil Mack in the division. The Chargers thinking you got Joey Bosa on one side, Khalil Mack on the other. That's going to be a hell of a pass rush. That's going to be a hell of a fucking pass rush. If they can stay healthy, that's going to be a hell of a pass rush. And if, I was watching a show today and they was talking about how the Chargers was a top 5 offense, was the 5th ranked offense in the league and missed the Super Bowl, missed the playoffs. Yeah, that's got a lot to do with Joe Staley. But then I remembered to myself, Joe Staley, a defensive-minded coach, motherfucker's defense was the 29th overall defense in the NFL last year. So, yeah, this is definitely going to help this defense immensely. They need to find some cornerback help. I like Asante Samuel Jr., if nothing for the reason of his dad. But, they do have to find some secondary help. Like the Colts, because at least the Colts got Kenny Moore. And they do got Derwin James. Obviously, with Derwin James, you got to hope he stay healthy first and foremost. But you do have Derwin James. Now, I need to go and look at some more Derwin James tape. Because all the tape that I be seeing of Derwin James starting to make me think I don't think he is completely a Jamal Adams type of safety. Like Jamal Adams, it feel like eventually going to get moved to linebacker. Because they feel like that's what they do to safeties nowadays who can't cover, but is great in the run game and coming down and hitting and blitzing. It feel like they eventually move those dudes to linebacker. I don't think Derwin James is terrible in coverage, but off the top of my head right now, it's fuzzy. So I'm actually gonna have to go back and look at some Joe Tilley, some James Derwin tapes, highlights and tapes, because I cannot remember. Not highlights. Highlights don't help. Some James Derwin tape. But either way, I'm getting stuck on that shit. That was a great move either way to me for the Chargers. If Khalil Mack still got a lot left in the tank, like I'm hearing some people say, one of the top defensive players in the game. I don't know if he's still one of the top defensive players in the game, just based off of the year he coming off of. But if he can return to one of the top defenders in the game, one of the top pass rushers in the game, then yeah, the Chargers defense should be way better. If you can get Joey Bosa to get through a whole season healthy, or at least the majority of the season healthy. I always just think it hurt teams when some of their best players are in and out of the lineup because they can't build up a rhythm or a consistency. But if you can get Joey Bosa and Derwin James, if you can get Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the field for 12 games together, that should be more than enough to get them to the playoffs. Because you see defenses who don't have nowhere near that type of star power or productivity on the outsides get to the playoffs. So that's a good move by the Chargers. I'm interested to see what Khalil Mack look like in those threads. No way you can look bad in Charger threads, bro. No way. Just like to me, it's no way you can look bad in Rams threads. The Rams got some of the best threads in the NFL. Don't give a fuck what nobody think. The Ravens need to upgrade their threads. And speaking of on the Ravens, I saw a report today that said the Ravens might end up is the best landing spot. Like the team with the best percentages of landing Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu is the Ravens. So, I mean, that'll be a great signing, but I want Bobby Wagner, goddammit. And I saw some reports today that said Bobby Wagner got a huge market developing. No fucking shit. I couldn't imagine that a 6-time All-Pro, multi-time Pro Bowler, one of the greatest middle linebackers of his generation, if not the greatest middle linebacker of his generation, one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time, with a lot left in the tank, I could not imagine that he would have a huge market. You gotta be shitting me. What a surprising developing story. Come on, man. Who didn't know that fucking Bobby Wagner was not? Come on, man. Ain't nobody disrespecting Bobby Wags. B. Wagner. No way. See, people call everybody the captain. That's who the fuck I call the captain. El Capitan. No disrespect to Derek Jeter, the captain, but to me, you look at Bobby Wagner, that's a fucking captain. And I'm not comparing him to Derek Jeter. This conversation has nothing to do with Derek Jeter other than I know that Derek Jeter's nickname was the captain. But in football, I don't think we got nobody named the captain. To me, that's when I look at Bobby Wagner, I look at him and I think to myself, man, that is the captain. That is the leader of the defense. I think some people forget how great some of those dudes on the front end of Seattle's defense was, because people like to think about the back end. But I saw another segment today where they was talking about, will Carson Wentz resurrect his career with the Commanders? You know what's weird to me? Or not even necessarily weird, but just so amazing to me how last year was 2 years ago, would he resurrect his career in Philly? Then last year, would he resurrect his career in Indy? Now, will he resurrect his career in Washington? Listen, man, I like Carson. I do like Carson. I do not think Carson is a trash can. But Carson Wentz is inconsistent. And that is the problem with Carson Wentz. And he has proven time and time again that he will be inconsistent. He will give you a great game one week and then follow that up with 3 or 4 atrocious games. And please, please, please stop telling everybody about, well, he had 27 touchdowns and only like 6 or 7 interceptions. Bro, if you watch the games, then you know that shit do not matter, because it was way worse than what those numbers actually show. That's why I hate stats so much. That's why I don't like that motherfucker Emmanuel Acho. I was finna say something. That motherfucker on TV, to me, is just trashing Lamar, because it's not constructive criticism. And if you do consider it constructive criticism, it's not legitimate, accurate constructive criticism. And the fact that you can get on TV and defend Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz to the depths that he go to defend those 2 quarterbacks, and get on TV and shit on Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, it's wild to me. And you know, sometimes I think to myself, why don't the higher ups come down and say something about shit like this? But that's just foolish thinking. They love this shit. For one, it truly is his opinion. And I don't want people thinking, oh, anytime somebody say something bad about Lamar Jackson, I'm going to be mad. No. I don't mind constructive criticism. I prefer constructive criticism. Sometimes I hear people say stuff about Lamar Jackson that's legitimately true, and I'm like, damn, I never thought about it like that, even though I probably have. I'm like, damn, that's true. But then when, you got some of these dudes who don't, it's just wild to me when you look at a player like Lamar Jackson. All he done. And you look at Carson Wentz, and that's who he chooses to defend. And it's just like, what? How? Like, how? Neither the stats nor the eye test tell you that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback. But that's who he chooses to go to battle for. It's insane to me, but hey, I know what Emmanuel Acho is. I'm not guessing. I know what he is. So, you know. But let's talk about Carson. I do think Carson Wentz will be better. I don't know too much about better. I think he's going to be good. I mean, I think he'll be Carson Wentz. I think the thing is he got a better chance of winning this division. I mean, I don't know, man, because they had a good chance of winning the division last year. Dude couldn't beat Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, bro. I mean, it feel like defending Carson Wentz at times, you really lowering the bar. But how can I say he can win this division when he couldn't win the one he was in last year with a coach that supposedly he wanted to be with and wanted him, even though they was doing a lot of game managing with Carson last year. And then he with a dude who I don't even think is great offensive. He not with an offensive-minded coach now. I don't think that. I mean, he is with a great receiver in McLaurin. But I don't think they're going to be better than Dallas. But the weird thing is, this division's so fucking bad. Who knows? Because Dallas could, like I said in the previous show, Dallas could put together a bad season this year following the good season they had last year. Who knows with this division? And he'll get to play the Eagles 2 times a year. Now, that could go either way. Because I don't look at Carson Wentz and say, oh, he going to play the Eagles 2 times a year. Oh, he going to spank the Eagles 2 times a year. Revenge games. He going to make them regret trade. No, those games could go either way. He could go into Philly and stink it the fuck up. I heard a story that Carson Wentz gave all his teammates shotguns when he was in Philly. What the fuck is wrong with this dude, man? I know some people think, oh, that's cool as hell. Somebody give me a shotgun for Christmas or for as a present. I'm thinking to myself. Unless I ask for it, I'm thinking to myself, why is this what you thought I wanted as a present? Because I don't want. Don't buy me a weapon for a present, bro. I'm just telling you right now. Do not buy me a handgun, an automatic, a pistol. Don't buy me no type of gun as a present. I'm good. I don't want nobody buying me weapons for presents, bro. Actually, depending on how much I can sell it off for, buy me weapons for presents, bro. Buy me weapons for presents. Ignore that previous minute or whatever I was just talking about before. Didn't even happen. Buy me handguns and automatics and weapons for presents, because I think they'll make a killing at the pawn shop or a gun shop or something like that. You know what I'm saying? My cousin just bought a gun from a gun show for like, I think what he said was $2,000 or something like that. It's a nice looking gun. I'm not describing the gun and all that shit on you. It's not this type of channel. It's not this type of show. But listen, it's other moves being made around the NFL, man. Some dudes got released. I hear that the Cowboys haven't even released Amari yet. First, they seeing if they can trade him. But like I said, why would you release that you're going to release him, then try to trade him? But hey, that happened to Rodney Hudson last year, I think, where they was reporting the Raiders was releasing him. And then the next report was, never mind, they traded him to the Cardinals. So, interesting what the Cardinals do with him, what they do with DeMarcus Lawrence. It was another team that I was reading about today that was about to release a big name dude on their team. I know the Raiders released Corey Littleton after 2 seasons. I want y'all to be listening to all these dudes getting released out of contracts they signed that the organization is breaking. Get emotional and send threats and, you know, y'all dislike for the organization for doing that. Y'all probably won't, but I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, a lot of shit going on in the football world right now. Man, I hope when I get off of this, bro, I hope Golden State ain't got their ass spanked by this point in time. Golden State really starting not really depress me at all, because basketball just... You want to know what do bother me, though? Golden State is the Lakers' only fucking win since the All-Star break. The Lakers have lost every fucking game they done played after the All-Star break, except for the fucking game they played against the Warriors. And I don't want to hear people say, well, LeBron had to score 56 to beat them. I don't give a fuck. They still beat them. The Warriors letting me down. They letting me down. You know how I used to say the Raiders is letting my uncle down, bro? The Warriors know how the Raiders was breaking my uncle's heart. The Warriors, bro, y'all breaking my heart right now. Like, how? In the offseason, if the Warriors don't trade off some of these young assets, bro, I won't understand what the fuck going on. And I'm not even talking about James Wiseman, because if James Wiseman end up becoming the player that you need him to be, and he developed like Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid had to sit out a couple years before he became Joel Embiid. So if James Wiseman legitimately become an all-pro, all-star type of player, then no, I'm not saying trade him. But I do not see the purpose of keeping Jordan Poole and some of these other young, like Kamungia, or Kaminga, however you pronounce his name. If he not finna make an instant impact over the next couple years, like instantly that can win us a title, do not understand why you don't trade him for a more impactful player that can help right now. Like, right now. Curry is not getting no younger. Clay is not getting any younger. Draymond is not getting any younger. Like, I do not understand, especially if they don't win a championship this year, which is not looking like it's gonna happen. But hey, I don't. Who is the dominant team in the NFC? In the damn, I got football on my mind. Wake up in the morning, I got football on my mind. NFC to AFC, I'm talking about that shit all the time. Quarterbacks and running backs constantly on my mind. No, that's a lie. I'm never really thinking about running backs. Even though, what the fuck the Panthers gonna do with Christian McCaffrey? Are they really gonna trade him? I can't imagine you get a shit ton for, like, I saw somebody say that you could probably get a second round pick for Christian McCaffrey. Man, if you can get a second round pick for Christian McCaffrey, I would trade Christian right fucking now. A second round pick, that's wild. I thought the most you could get for Christian right now is probably a third round pick, late third round pick, because he injury prone. And he on a contract that, even though it might not be that bad because it was signed, a couple years ago, I would want to restructure it with a whole bunch of incentives, bro, because he don't stay healthy. I don't believe Christian McCaffrey has played a full season since that contract got signed. Ronnie Staley has only played 7 games since his contract got signed, and he is way more of a need than a Christian McCaffrey. So, and plus I always think it's weird when teams build around running backs. That, to me, that's just always weird. Plus, what the fuck the Panthers gonna do with Ace Boogie? What they gonna do with Cam? Like, the Panthers, I can't wait till the offseason really pick up next week. Like, more crazy shit, like more wild news could drop this week. But I'm really interested to see, how next week play out Wednesday when the free agency officially kick off. Because a lot of these teams got to make some moves. Like, what is the Jets going to do? Is they bringing over some weapons for Zach Wilson? What's some moves the Bills going to make? Like, it's a lot of teams that can make some moves that can because a lot of teams making big moves right now. I'm interested also, what the fuck is the Raiders doing? What are they going to do? Because if the Raiders don't make no real key impactful moves, the Raiders ain't making the playoffs again next year. And I love Derek Carr. Y'all know I love Derek Carr. I saw some reports that said he could possibly be traded to the Colts. I hope not, because the Colts don't have no weapons, man. Like, I like Michael Pittman Jr. He's going to be a great receiver. He's not yet. I think he will be. He done shown a lot of flash so far, a lot of promise. To me, people can't use that, though, as the excuse for Carson Wentz. Because Carson Wentz, bro, decision-making ain't got nothing to do with dudes getting open and shit at times. Bad decision making is bad decision making, and that was one of the biggest problems with Carson Wentz is bad decision making. Derek Carr had a season where he was making a lot of stupid ass decisions. I think that was his first year with Gruden. But Derek Carr, to me, considering all he went through last year, all the turnover on that team, dudes coming in and out of the roster, not being there no more. It wasn't the same crew he had starting out the season. Put it like that. What he thought he was going to be finishing the season with, started the season with, is not what he finished the season with. Nowhere near what he finished the season with. Best receiver was in and out of the lineup, and I'm talking about Darren Waller, because he is better all around than Hunter Renfrow. And then Hunter Renfrow, good receiver. On a great team, he is your third option. He is the slot receiver. Like, I said that about Cooper Kupp at one point in time. Apologies to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a number one receiver. But it's hard for me to see. And plus, I'm not a fan of Josh McDaniels. So, if the Raiders don't make no impactful moves, like, they should be trying to bring Amari Cooper back. Shit. They could use Amari Cooper. And I just don't see, like, Vegas is a big city. You got a nice, it's Vegas. And you got a beautiful stadium. It's not SoFi, but it is beautiful. But I can't say that they wouldn't be able to sign big names, but why would a big name sign with this team right now? Because I know people can say, oh, well, they made the playoffs last year. Yeah, I know that. But I'm looking at this roster, and I would be saying to myself, how did this team make the playoffs last year? Because this don't look like no playoff roster. You probably can't name to me 10 players off of the Raiders lineup right now without looking at, like, Google or a roster. Like, you got Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. I know a lot of players' names, but I'm just talking about without having to think about it. You got Abrams in the back. You got Max Crosby on the line, on the D line. You got Carl Nassib. I don't even think he is a starter on the team. And I don't even remember him because he play. I remember him because of his story. But, like, you can't even name multiple Raider players, man. It's not this to me. Josh Jacobs, obviously, but to me, the Raiders roster. When you look at the Raiders roster, that to me don't look like no playoff roster. That's why it's funny to me that people keep saying, "Oh man, it's about to be the best division in football." The Raiders could finish under 500 easily. Because I'm looking at this roster and I'm looking at the other rosters in the division getting better. Like, this ain't gonna... Bro, the Raiders, I think, got wins over the Broncos last year. Bro, the Broncos are going to be way better than they were last year with Russell Wilson. Just alone off of getting Russell Wilson, they're going to be better than last year. That is not 2 easy wins for the Raiders now. The Chargers, they beat the Chargers last year off of bad coaching. Bro, they're not beating the Chargers. That's not 2 easy wins for them. That might not be 2 wins. That might not be 1 win for them this year if the Chargers improve. And then you got the Chiefs. That's 2 L's for them off the rip because of how bad they play against the Chiefs. So, to me, people talking about how good this division might be. Bro, you could have a team in this division that is legitimately deep under 500 because they can't be because I don't think the Raiders is better than the teams in a division right now. But maybe maybe they'll shock me. But I just don't. And as much as I love Derek Carr, he the 3rd best quarterback in this division. I saw the reports, people arguing about Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert. Russell Wilson is better than Justin Herbert to me right now. I think y'all really giving Justin Herbert a lot of pull for throwing yards, and the fact that he playing with 2 great receivers is wild to me. And Jared Cook's a good tight end. But nonetheless, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, and Justin Herbert, I know for sure in my mind are better than Derek Carr. And I love Derek Carr. But all 3 of those quarterbacks I would take. Now, I'm a little bit biased. No, I would take all 3 of those quarterbacks. Now, I would probably take Derek Carr over Justin Herbert just because I love Derek Carr. But I'm not taking him. My love for Derek Carr not having me take him over Russell Wilson or over Pat Mahomes. But if I take him over Justin Herbert, I'm okay with y'all saying that was a bad decision because I would understand that. But I can make an argument he's the fourth best quarterback in his division. And I can make an easy argument that is the worst roster in the division. Not to mention, the Chargers don't have a great roster themselves defensively. But they got 3 big-name defenders on their roster right now. And they got a promising young cornerback on the roster. And, well, no, they won't even have to worry about Bruh unless they move him onto the line. And they got Joe Tillery. Now, I understand some people don't know who Tillery is, just like you don't know some of those great players on the Titans line, like Simmons, Landry, and all that type of players. But Byard, who the safety and all that. But these are good players. Just know that. Joe Tillery, or Tilly, is a great player. I don't know where the fuck I'm getting Tillery from. I think it's just Joe Tilly. But he is a good player, along with, obviously, Khalil Mack, especially if Khalil Mack come back strong off of the injury. Joey Bosa, if you can get him to get through a full season healthy and whatnot. And Derwin James. Now, that's the big thing. I hope that all 3 of them can stay healthy, along with some of the other dudes on the defense can step up. And the Chargers could be a dangerous team. They re-sign Mike Williams. Now, to me, I'm also not really big on the Chargers running game. I don't think Austin Eckler is a legitimate number 1 running back. I think he's more of a hybrid running back. Like, he can run good and he can have good run games. But for the most part, to me, throughout the duration of a season, he's not going to do for you what a legitimate running back is going to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, he more of a Danny Woodhead type of running back, where a scat back / slot receiver, which is what Christian McCaffrey gonna turn into eventually if he can't stay healthy. He gonna turn into a running back who you use on certain run plays and shit like that. But for the most part, you trying to get him out in action and catch passes and shit like that, like he would play for New England. Christian McCaffrey would be phenomenal in New England, as a matter of fact. The way they throw it to the running back, phew. Brady would have loved Christian McCaffrey. I'm telling you. But that was my basically my diatribe on the Raiders. I think the Raiders could end up last in that division. But I'm looking at the Ravens, and I've been watching the reports on the Ravens because I'm talking about ending up last in the division, which the Ravens won't end up last in the division this year if we healthy. I think that the Steelers could possibly end up last in the division based on whoever they put at quarterback. I'm very interested to see who they put at quarterback because I talk a lot about Baker Mayfield. Man, if Baker Mayfield can't get his Browns to be better than whoever, like let's say the Steelers don't bring nobody in. They done missed out on Carson. They missed out on Wentz. That's the same person. They done missed out on Russ. They done missed out on Rodgers. They might miss out on Jimmy G. Who do you bring in at quarterback? A rookie? Who you bring in? I'm interested. Who do you bring in? Because Mason Rudolph, if that's the quarterback you going into the season with, man, it's hard for me not to see them finishing in last in the fucking division if that's who they come into the season with. And if you the Steelers also, now I don't think they would do this, but if you are the Steelers, right, and you don't get like a good quarterback or, you know, a decent veteran to come in, and you got to come in with a bad quarterback or a quarterback who not really as promising as what you would like, do you begin to trade off some of those veterans who make a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball? Now, I know you're not trading TJ Watt. I know that's not going to happen. But do you then begin to consider trading a Cam Hayward, a Minkah Fitzpatrick? Like, because you can argue with me that you wouldn't trade off a Minkah Fitzpatrick also. I just think Minkah don't make the impact that a TJ Watt could make. Plus, you're paying TJ Watt more, and you just paid him, so you ain't getting rid of him that quick. You at least got 2 to 3 years of TJ Watt before you can get out of that contract, I believe. So, Minkah, on the other hand, I'm almost certain you can get out of his contract now or next year or something like that. So I'm just saying, if you can't get a good quarterback in within a year or two, do you consider to start to trade off some of these pieces on the defense? Cam Hayward ain't getting no younger right now, even though I do believe Cam Hayward is a Hall of Famer, great player. Plus, you look at the defense. The defense not really that great to begin with. They wasn't that great last year. They had great moments in here and there, but overall wasn't really a great defense. So, you know, The Steelers in an interesting situation right now. Because I'm not quite seeing it. Like, I'm not seeing who coming in at quarterback. Like, that's really what I'm struggling with the Steelers. Because Mike Tomlin can find a way to get the defense to play up to par, or to play up to the goal or the standard for the day. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about who do they come in. Because I'm never going to be sold on Mason Crosby. He is what he is. I think Kellen Mond is one of their quarterbacks on that team, so maybe you give him a chance. Or maybe I'm thinking, maybe that's not him on that team. Maybe he played for the Vikings. I'm not for sure, but what do you do right now with quarterbacks? Like, what's still an interesting thing to me right now is Jimmy G. Until he lands somewhere, and it's just because I don't think Jimmy G is going to land with Pittsburgh. Like, I do not see him landing in Pittsburgh. But, like, I didn't see Russell Wilson heading to Denver, even though I do think Denver might have been one of the spots I talked about him going in the season. I didn't ultimately see him ending up in Denver, just like I didn't see Khalil Mack ending up in L.A. with the Chargers. And then I saw a report today that Von Miller's highest, like the Broncos got the highest odds to bring Von Miller back. So, hey, the Rams really trying to get Aaron Donald to retire, I see. But so I'm very interested to see what some of these teams do, man. The Steelers, the Raiders, the Panthers, shit, even the Ravens, just because that's my team. But, man, it's a lot of shit to be done in the offseason. Man, it's going to be an exciting fucking offseason. With that, though, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. KIWS. I got to make a logo for my aunt's business, Unique Creations, yo. She be fucking killing it. And I got to make a logo for her, yo. I got to come up with a fire-ass logo for her, so she could put that shit on everything. Because she the type of person who, if I make her a logo and it's fire, she going to go and get that shit made. Like, she going to legit make posters, make stickers, shirts, actual board for it. Like, she going to get it turned into an actual sign to put up for it. Like, she going to go all out if the logo fire. So I got to hop on that. But, yo, tell somebody you love them. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody to have a dope fucking day. I'm still on them kitchen nightmares, that bar rescue and that hotels from hell, man. Still on them bitches heavy. Y'all have a dope fucking day, man. Saint out.
Hey, right out. Got my niggas in the bag blowing white out. We gon' bump this shit real deep into the night out. Keep it 199, just ain't my style. Sing the time, staring out the window of the night route. They never ever understood for the most part. Hey, wonder how them niggas treated Mozart. Hey, did they try to put him on the Zoloft? Oh nah, I was penalized for being too alive. 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 I was